Oh,
yes,
shall I
that's
just
it.
start myself, or do you want to ask anything? I just speak.
Yes, exactly. So welcome to Jack Valero. He's in England. So we are praying for England, for the Queen, for your Prime Minister that is in intensive care. But what we would like to speak today is about the news that just came from Australia. You follow Jack Valero very well, very carefully, the Cardinal Pell situation, and we just heard and were informed that he's relaxed. How can you explain that, the situation, the process, and the decision of the High Court?
I think the course has been a bit strange because he was accused of something that on examination turned out to be almost impossible to have happened. And it was the allegations were made by one person on his own, who said that he and another had been raped by Cardinal Pell one Sunday, and the other person had died. And in fact, before he died, he had said he had never been abused. So it was weird. There was only one allegation against him, one person, making allegations against him, and lots of people defending him, saying this is impossible. He could never have done it. There's no time after Mass, given that all the things he has to do, given that he's always accompanied, given that the sacristy is always full of people. This allegation is actually impossible. And in fact, people who examined this, like Andrew Bolt, who is not a believer, who works for Sky News and has not always agreed with Cardinal Pell, has always they've looked at it and said, well, this is actually impossible. How is it that he can be condemned by a jury when these allegations are impossible? So this case then went forward, and he appealed. And in the appeal, two judges just said, well, we find the witness believable. And the third one actually went through every detail of the case and said, well, actually, this is impossible.
Yeah.
When it came out in the summer, I read the 200-page report.
Right, you read everything.
A whole day reading it, every page, the 200 pages.
200 pages, yeah.
A whole day reading it in detail. And to me, as a layman, it was absolutely obvious this was an impossible thing. I'm not saying whether he was capable of this or not capable, or whether he is a good man or a bad man. The actual allegation was impossible. And the facts. So then that's why when 7 judges of the High Court of Australia have looked at it now, they've unanimously said, no, this is impossible. He's innocent of this particular allegation.
There are seven judges.
Yeah. So they unanimously decided that this is impossible. Now, so that's on one hand. The second thing I'd like to say is that victims of abuse, and there are many victims of abuse,
yes, of
are not helped by this kind of witch hunt, because eventually the thing is reversed and everybody is left very unhappy, and a lot of victims now will fear reporting, because so much time and effort has been spent on this witch hunt and persecuting the innocent man, when they should have spent this time looking for the real guilty people. And we would have been united in this, victims and the church together.
Yes, of course. I know that you are pro-victims. So explain us what is exactly, what did they say, the 7 judges? What is the facts, the idea, the communication of the High Court? He's absolved, he's a free man.
Well, yes, he has been, the conviction has been quashed. The details are not yet available. But they have said that he could not have been condemned beyond reasonable doubt. Basically, that the facts don't stack up. They don't make sense. But
and what will be the future?
One more thing. I'd like to say one more thing, and that is that in the abuse scandal in Australia, the church has done very badly. They in the last 40, 50 years, there's been a lot of abuse in there was the Royal Commission which investigated it, and they uncovered a lot of evil, and people are very right to be angry about the church in Australia.
Yes.
And I think
Yeah.
it's a very bad situation. So one can understand that even if this man has been made into a scapegoat for a situation which was intolerable, and so it's not to say that, okay, I'm happy because an innocent man has been freed. That's true. But in fact, the situation has been bad. And I can understand the anger of people because the situation has been so bad in the church. But this is not resolved by witch hunt of innocent people. This is the problem.
Yes, okay. And what about the future of the Cardinal Pell? Now he's a free man. He can again say Mass. He will go back to Rome. He will stay in what about his situation as a cardinal? Because he's priest. Will he be able to say Mass? I don't know exactly. Do you know more or less the future?
Well, I mean, he can resume his life. He can, obviously, he has not been able to celebrate, apparently he has not been able to celebrate Mass during this more than a year that he's been in prison. So one of the things that I'm sure he's looking forward to is celebrating Mass again. But I don't know what his plans are regarding where to live, because he's now retired from his position. His job in Rome finished. He has been replaced in Rome because his term ended. He's now 78.
78, okay.
So he's retired, and he can retire in Rome or in Australia. In Australia, we don't know where he will retire. He can basically get on with his life now as a retired person, celebrating Mass and doing whatever. I don't think he has any more role in the Vatican structures because, as I say, his term has ended.
Okay.
But he's been vindicated, and he can resume normal life. And be, lead a normal life, as normal as possible. Of course, the anger against him from some quarters will continue. That will not abate because of the judgment. So that has to be taken into account, and maybe his life will continue to be difficult, even though he has been proved to be innocent.
He's innocent. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we will see that. We'll follow that. Do you know more or less if the allegation, the victims, what did he say exactly? Because there was one person. How would be his reaction? Because it must be also difficult for him.
We haven't had much. I mean, obviously, the field is very divided, and so some people have said how happy they are, and some victims groups have said how disappointed they are that this has happened, because they look at it on a global scale. On a global scale, here's a man who is very important and has now been acquitted, and so they're not thinking of the case itself or the person and him being innocent. They're thinking of the whole scheme of things, and I agree that's why I say that it should never have been started. We should prosecute people who are guilty, who are clearly guilty, so that we can put right this problem we've had in the Catholic Church, as in the rest of society. But we should put it right in the Catholic Church first. And so I think that we are still waiting for the official reaction of people. But the controversies continue, and I think people who were avowed enemies of Cardinal Pell will continue to be enemies of him.
Okay. So it means, thank you.